Sometimes the people we trust most become our worst enemies. Family should be sacred, but when someone enters your home with evil in their heart, they can destroy everything you hold dear. I learned this lesson the hard way when I welcomed a snake into my house, thinking she was an angel. Today's story will show you that kindness without wisdom can be dangerous, and sometimes the only way to stop a predator is to become a better hunter than they are. Before we begin, hit the subscribe button and tell me where you're watching this story from. Your support means everything. My name is Margaret Whitlow, and this is my diary. I never thought I would write these words, but here I am at 61, telling you about the most terrible and shocking time in my life. 3 years ago, my son Caleb brought home a wife named Fiona. She was 28 years old with golden hair, and the prettiest smile I had ever seen. She spoke so sweetly and seemed so fragile. "Mom, you're going to love Fiona," Caleb said that first autumn day. "She's been through so much pain. Her parents died in a car crash when she was just 19. She has no family left in this world." My heart immediately broke for this poor girl. I opened my arms and hugged her tight, feeling her thin body shake against mine. "Welcome home, sweetheart," I whispered. "You're not alone anymore. You're family now." If only I knew what kind of monster I was welcoming into my peaceful home. If only I could see the evil hiding behind those beautiful blue eyes. For the first few weeks, Fiona seemed like a gift from heaven. She would wake up early to help with breakfast, always asking what I wanted to eat. She cleaned the house without being asked and organized my medicine cabinet better than I ever could. "Margaret, you've raised such a wonderful son," she would tell me while folding laundry. "I feel so blessed to be part of this family." She called me Margaret instead of Mom, which felt a little cold, but I understood. She was probably still grieving her own mother. I tried to be patient and loving, hoping she would warm up to me over time. Caleb looked happier than I had seen him in years. He would smile all day at work and rush home to spend time with his new wife. "Mom, I think I'm the luckiest man alive," he told me one evening. But looking back now, I see the signs I completely missed. The way her smile never quite reached her eyes. How she would watch me carefully when she thought I wasn't looking. The strange questions she asked about my daily routines, my medicine schedule, and my will. She was studying me like a scientist studies a lab rat before running deadly experiments. 2 months after Fiona moved into my home, strange things started happening to my body. I began feeling sick every morning, like someone was squeezing my stomach with iron hands. Dizzy spells would hit me during the day, making me grab onto furniture to keep from falling. My family doctor, Dr. Cornelius Ashford, ran some tests but found nothing serious. "It might be stress from adjusting to having someone new in the house," he suggested. "Or maybe just the normal changes that come with age." But deep in my heart, I felt something was very wrong. This wasn't normal aging. This felt like poison running through my veins. "Maybe you should rest more, Mom," Caleb suggested after I collapsed in the kitchen one Tuesday morning. "You've been working too hard taking care of all of us." Fiona was always right there to help me to bed, her hands gentle but somehow cold on my skin. "Don't worry about anything, Margaret," she would say in that fake sweet voice. "I'll take care of the house. I'll take care of everything." But I started noticing a pattern. She was always the one making my breakfast. Always the one bringing my evening medicine. Always the one offering special food when I felt worse. As weeks passed, the sickness got much worse. I started throwing up after every meal, losing weight so fast that my clothes hung on me like empty sacks. My hands began shaking so badly I could barely hold a coffee cup. But the most terrifying part was how my mind started feeling like thick fog. Some days I couldn't remember simple words. Other days I would start a sentence and forget what I was trying to say halfway through. "Mom, you're really scaring us," Caleb said one evening, his voice full of worry. "Maybe we need to take you to a specialist at the big hospital downtown." Fiona nodded sadly, putting her arm around my son's shoulders. She's been forgetting things too. Yesterday she couldn't remember my name for almost 10 minutes. She just stared at me like I was a stranger. That was a complete lie. I never forgot her cursed name, not even once. But when I tried to tell Caleb the truth, the words came out wrong and jumbled. My tongue felt thick and heavy, like someone had filled my mouth with cotton. What in God's name was happening to my body and mind? As my health got worse, Fiona started filling Caleb's head with terrible lies about me. She would wait until he came home from work, then tell him stories with tears in her eyes. "Your mother was so cruel to me today," she would whisper. "She called me horrible names when you were gone. She said I was a gold digger who trapped you into marriage. She even threatened to throw me out on the streets." "Mom, why are you being so mean to Fiona?" Caleb confronted me one night. "She's done nothing but help you since she moved in. She loves you like her own mother." I never said any of those things. I cried, but my voice was weak and shaky from whatever poison was destroying my body. "Son, please believe me. I would never hurt her feelings like that." But Caleb's face was cold and disappointed. Behind him, I could see Fiona standing in the doorway. For just 1 second, her mask slipped and I saw her real face. A cold, evil smile that made my blood turn to ice in my veins. She was enjoying every moment of my pain. Fiona was much smarter than I had realized. She slowly and carefully turned my beloved son against me, lie by poisonous lie. She would cry to him about how mean and jealous I was of their happiness. She told him I tried to push her down the stairs when he was at work. She said I hid her personal things around the house, and called her a worthless orphan who didn't deserve love. She claimed I threatened to change my will and leave her nothing. Every single word was a lie, but they were clever lies mixed with just enough truth to sound believable. Caleb believed her because I was so sick and confused that I could barely defend myself anymore. My own son, the baby I had raised and loved for 29 years, started looking at me like I was a dangerous stranger. "Maybe Mom needs professional help," I heard Fiona whisper to Caleb one night through my bedroom wall. "She's getting violent and unpredictable. What if she hurts one of us? What if she hurts herself?" My heart shattered into a million pieces hearing those words. My own home was becoming a prison, and my son was becoming my jailer. One night in late November, I couldn't sleep because of terrible stomach cramps. I went downstairs to the kitchen for some water and saw something that changed my entire world. Fiona was standing at the counter in her nightgown, crushing up small white pills with the back of a spoon. She was being very careful, making sure the powder was fine and smooth. Then she put this powder into a small glass bottle and shook it up. I hid behind the kitchen door and watched in horror as she took that bottle of powder and sprinkled it into my special coffee container, the decaf blend that only I used. Then she did the same thing to my sugar bowl and my daily vitamin container. My daughter-in-law was poisoning me. This woman I had welcomed with love and trust was slowly murdering me in my own home, and she was turning my son against me while she did it. She was stealing my life, my family, and my home all at the same time. I couldn't eat or sleep for days after discovering Fiona's evil secret. Every time I looked at her sweet, innocent face, I wanted to scream. She was using some kind of medicine to make me sick and confused, probably something that wouldn't show up in normal blood tests. But I couldn't tell Caleb what I had seen because he was completely under her spell. Who would believe such an impossible story? I could barely believe it was real. I started watching Fiona more carefully, and what I saw made my soul sick. Her whole personality completely changed when Caleb left for work each morning. The sweet smile disappeared like someone turning off a light switch. She would look at me with pure hatred burning in her eyes. "You won't live forever, you old witch," she whispered to me one morning as she handed me my poisoned coffee with a fake smile. "And when you're finally dead and buried, everything you own will be mine. Your house, your money, and most importantly, your son." Those words hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just about killing me for money. She wanted to completely replace me in Caleb's life. That night, lying in my bed feeling like I was already half dead, I made a decision that saved my life. I wasn't going to let this evil woman win. I wasn't going to let her murder me and steal everything I had worked for. But I also knew I had to be much smarter than Fiona if I wanted to survive. I couldn't just expose her because Caleb wouldn't believe me without solid proof. I needed to catch her red-handed, but more than that, I needed to destroy her completely. The next morning, I started my secret war for survival. I pretended to drink my poisoned coffee but actually poured it into a plant when Fiona wasn't looking. I threw away the special meals she made just for me and ate simple foods I prepared myself. Slowly, over the next few weeks, I began to feel stronger and think more clearly. But I let Fiona believe her poison was still working perfectly. I continued acting sick and confused while secretly planning her complete destruction. If she wanted to play deadly games with me, I would show her how a real woman fights when her back is against the wall. While pretending to be dying, I started using my smartphone to gather evidence against Fiona. I set up the camera and caught her putting poison in my food. I recorded her cruel words when Caleb wasn't home. I took pictures of the pills she was using and the bottles she stored them in. But I knew that catching her poisoning me wouldn't be enough for the kind of revenge I had planned. I wanted to destroy her entire fake life, not just stop her from killing me. I used my secret savings account to hire a private investigator named Zephyr Knox. He was an older man with sharp eyes who had spent 30 years catching cheating spouses and insurance fraudsters. "I need you to find out everything about Fiona Whitlow," I told him during our secret meeting at a coffee shop downtown. "Her real past, her family, her history with men. Everything she's hiding." "Ma'am, are you sure you want to know what I might find?" he asked gently. "Sometimes the truth is worse than we imagine." "Mr. Knox," I said, looking him straight in the eyes, "this woman is trying to murder me. I need ammunition to fight back." 2 weeks later, Zephyr Knox called me with information that made my blood run cold. Fiona wasn't who she claimed to be at all. Her real name was Fiona Blackwood, and she had a criminal record longer than my arm. She had been married twice before meeting my son, and both of her previous husbands had died under very mysterious circumstances. The first one, a wealthy businessman named Atticus Sterling, had died of sudden heart failure at age 45. The second husband, a farmer named Jasper Valdez, had died of mysterious stomach problems that doctors couldn't explain. In both cases, Fiona had inherited everything and disappeared before anyone could ask too many questions. But there was more shocking news. She was wanted by police in 2 different states for fraud, identity theft, and abandoning her responsibilities. She owed thousands of dollars to loan sharks and credit card companies. My son had married a professional killer who moved from victim to victim like a deadly spider. The most heartbreaking discovery was that Fiona had a 16-year-old daughter named Tempest living with foster parents in another state. A daughter she had abandoned when the girl was just 11 years old so she could chase wealthy men and easy money. Mr. Knox found Tempest's phone number, and I called her one evening when Fiona and Caleb were out at dinner. "Hello," came a young voice that sounded so much like Fiona but somehow warmer. "Tempest, my name is Margaret Whitlow. I'm married to your mother's current husband, and I need to tell you something very important about her." There was a long silence. Then Tempest said quietly, "Is she hurting someone again?" Those words broke my heart. This poor child knew exactly what kind of monster her mother was. "Yes, sweetheart," I said gently. "She's trying to hurt me, but I'm going to stop her. Would you like to help me make sure she can't hurt anyone else ever again?" Over the next few weeks, I secretly built a network of people who wanted to see Fiona face justice. Tempest gave me contact information for the police detectives who were looking for her mother. I reached out to the families of Fiona's dead husbands, who had always suspected she was involved in the deaths. I contacted the loan sharks and creditors who were hunting for her to collect their money. I even found her old landlords who said she had disappeared in the middle of the night, leaving behind thousands of dollars in unpaid rent and property damage. Everyone wanted to see Fiona Blackwood finally pay for her crimes. But I wasn't ready to spring my trap yet. I wanted Caleb to see the truth with his own eyes first. I needed my son to understand exactly what kind of evil woman he had brought into our home. I bought tiny hidden cameras online and placed them all around our house, in the kitchen, living room, and hallways. Then I waited for the perfect moment to expose Fiona's true nature. That moment came on a cold December evening when Caleb was supposed to be working late at his job. I pretended to have a heart attack, falling down in the living room, and lying very still on the floor. I had told Caleb I was going to change my will that week, and leave everything to charity instead of him and Fiona. I knew this news would push her over the edge. As I lay on the floor pretending to be unconscious, Fiona stood over me and started laughing like a crazy person. Finally, she said to my still body, "I was getting so tired of poisoning you slowly, you stubborn old cow. Maybe I should just finish you off right now and tell Caleb I found you dead when I got home." She kicked me in the ribs with her foot to see if I would react. When I didn't move, she got down on her knees next to my face. "You know what the best part is," she whispered. "Your precious son loves me so much more than he ever loved you. After you're dead, I'll make sure he forgets you ever existed. And when I get tired of him, maybe I'll help him join you in the grave." She didn't know that Caleb had finished work early and was standing in the doorway, hearing every single evil word. She also didn't know about the cameras recording everything. "What did you just say?" Caleb's voice was like thunder shaking the whole house. Fiona spun around so fast she almost fell over, her face turning white as fresh snow. "Caleb," she gasped. I was just," she collapsed, and I was trying to help her but there was no way to explain away the words he had heard coming from her mouth. I sat up slowly, perfectly healthy and strong, and looked at my son's shocked and horrified face. "She's been poisoning me for months, Caleb," I said calmly. "I have video recordings, pictures, and evidence of everything she's done to me. And that's not even the worst part of who she really is." Fiona tried to run toward the door, but Caleb grabbed her arm and held her tight. "You tried to murder my mother." His voice was breaking with pain and rage. "It's not what you think." Fiona screamed like a trapped animal. "She's crazy. She's lying about everything. You know I would never hurt anyone." But I was already playing the audio recordings on my phone. Fiona's own voice filled the room, admitting to poisoning me, planning my death, and threatening to kill Caleb too when she got tired of him. My son's face crumbled as he realized his wife was a complete stranger. But exposing Fiona to Caleb was only the beginning of my revenge plan. I had already called the police, who were on their way to arrest her. But I had also made some other phone calls that would destroy her life completely. The first person to arrive was Detective Mordecai Thorne, who had been hunting Fiona for 2 years. "Mrs. Blackwood," he said as he walked through our front door, "you're under arrest for multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, and suspected murder." Fiona's face went from white to green. "My name is Fiona Whitlow, not Blackwood. You have the wrong person." "We have your fingerprints from 3 different crime scenes," Detective Thorne said as he put handcuffs on her wrists. "And now we have evidence of attempted murder too." But I wasn't finished yet. I had saved the best surprise for last. Just as the police were reading Fiona her rights, another person walked through our front door. A beautiful 16-year-old girl with dark hair and sad eyes. "Hello, Mother," Tempest said quietly. "It's been 5 years since you abandoned me. Did you miss me at all?" Fiona's face went completely white and she actually stumbled backward. "Tempest. What are you doing here?" "Mrs. Whitlow found me and told me where you were hiding," the girl said, her voice strong and brave. "She also told the police about the warrant for your arrest for child abandonment. Did you really think you could just throw me away and start a new life?" Watching Fiona face her abandoned daughter was better than any movie I had ever seen. For the first time since I met her, she looked truly afraid. As the police prepared to take Fiona away, I whispered the final blow in her ear. "I contacted the families of your dead husbands," I said softly. "They're reopening both murder investigations. I also called all the loan sharks and creditors you've been hiding from. They know exactly where to find you now." Fiona's eyes went wide with terror. "You don't understand," she whispered back. "Those people will kill me if they find me." "Then you should have thought about that before you tried to kill me," I replied with no emotion in my voice. "You poisoned my body and tried to poison my son's mind against me. Now I've poisoned your entire future." The police led her away in handcuffs while she screamed and cried, begging Caleb to help her. But my son turned his back on her and refused to even look in her direction. The next few months were like watching dominoes fall down one by one. Fiona was charged with attempted murder for poisoning me. The police in 2 other states reopened the investigations into her previous husband's deaths. The evidence I had helped gather led to murder charges in both cases. Her creditors found her in jail and sued her for everything she owned, which wasn't much. The loan sharks couldn't touch her in prison, but they made sure everyone knew she owed them money. Even in jail, Fiona wasn't safe from the enemies. Her every weekend. Eventually, we helped her move in with us permanently. "I'm so sorry I didn't believe you, Mom," Caleb said to me one evening, as we watched Tempest do homework at our kitchen table. "I should have known you would never lie to me about something so serious." "She was very good at manipulation, son," I said, hugging him tight. "Evil people are often very charming at first. That's how they trap their victims." 2 years later, I sat in a courtroom and watched a judge sentence Fiona Blackwood to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She had been found guilty of murdering her first 2 husbands and attempting to murder me. As they led her away in chains, she looked at me one last time. "This isn't over," she mouthed silently. But I just smiled and mouthed back, "Yes, it is." Today, 3 years after my nightmare began, my life is better than it ever was before. Caleb and I have healed our relationship completely. Tempest is now 19 and in college, studying to become a social worker, so she can help other children who have been abandoned by their parents. Sometimes she calls me Grandma Margaret, which makes my heart sing with joy. As for Fiona, she will never hurt another innocent person again. She's in a maximum security prison where she belongs, and every day she wakes up knowing that all her evil schemes led to nothing but a concrete cell and a life of regret. The other prisoners don't like women who abandon their children, so Fiona has learned what it feels like to be afraid every single day. Justice has a way of balancing the scales. I learned that when someone tries to destroy your life, sometimes the only way to stop them is to destroy theirs first. But you have to be smart about it. You have to gather evidence, build alliances, and strike when they least expect it. Most importantly, you have to make sure they can never hurt anyone else ever again. Remember, when someone tries to poison your life, sometimes you have to poison their future. But do it legally, do it completely, and do it so thoroughly that they can never recover. The wicked may prosper for a while, but in the end, evil always destroys itself. And good people like us. We survive, we heal, and we protect the next victims from suffering the same fate. That's real justice. That's real revenge.